Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Happy Friday. Let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin for the day. So, we had a nice, decent move up to 65,339 early this morning, I believe. Low has been 64,119, so there's a decent possibility that we kind of stay within this range. Not 100% sure, whether or not we're going to continue that move up. Would like to see us visit that 65,740 as long as we can get back above 65,186. But remember, it is a low volume Friday, so definitely more of a risky day to trade. We did have a couple of Fed folders, which did help bring some into the market, bring some volume into the market, but you're going to notice that volatility and price will basically start to kind of consolidate later on within the day as the day goes on, okay? So as far as, price goes, one good thing is that we did, I believe, get that 4 hour cross, that 21 golden cross we did. We're about to get the official one with the 50. So there's a potential that this could keep continuing upward, at least to that 65,740 area that I've been targeting. It's just going to be a very slow grind up, especially as the weekend comes around, if we do still keep moving up. On a positive note for today, we didn't get the deep discount that I was thinking we might, even testing up down to weekly open, but we did get down to almost 64,000 even. So it did offer enough of a discount for it to then move up from there. Let's take a quick look at the 10 hour. So the 10 hour is still looking halfway decent. Got about 5 hours left with the candle. Don't like this huge wick up. Could potentially form some sort of a double top. I'm not thinking that we're going to have any real bearish drive to the downside either, basically for the rest of the week. I think this will close as a bullish candle. That being said, I don't know if this is our high for the week, so it definitely, very well could be. Our basically our high for the week is around 65, 339. So that could definitely be the case for this week. Taking a look at the 8 hour kind of mainly had to move up. A very bullish move, and like I said, I think I pointed this out yesterday, but this was kind of a bull flag that did break out. So if you were able to take advantage of this, congratulations. That was a really nice move up. Um, 4 hour again, staying above the 21, we got that golden cross, so looking great. All of your bigger time frames are looking great so far, guys. The 12 hour, you're going to wait to basically get a reaction off of the 200. So I'm assuming that by the time that we get up here, it'll probably be around the bottom of this order block. So maybe we might get a rejection off of there, is my assumption for right now. Let's take a look at the 2 hour. So when it comes to the 2 hour, yeah, you kind of had almost like a really nice bullish flag here, and obviously that reflects better in some of the larger time frames, but definitely got that breakout. I could see this as a potential swing high, but we're not getting the continuation move to the downside, so I definitely think that there's a potential that we will keep on moving upward. Let me draw a real quick block here that I'm seeing. Let's see here. So we're looking at something like this. This is another order block to kind of keep in mind here, besides the one we have down here. But it looks like we tested the top of it here. Could get down to the middle or the bottom of it, but I'm expecting for us to basically, because we found sensitivity there, for us to get that continued move up. So basically, what it's been doing this whole week, guys, is tricking people into shorting the top, right? Everybody's trying to catch that top because they think that it's going to keep going down, and then it's just reversing and coming back up, right? So, it is offering some decent discounts, but obviously we are in an uptrend. So, it's really going to probably keep moving upwards until at least, weekly open come Sunday at 5 p.m. Um, let's see here. So looking at the 1 hour, got a nice bounce off my 786 that I drew this morning. That is interesting. Let me actually dive into that, into the 15 here. Yeah, so we kind of had this double bottom right here, tweezer bottom on the 15, and we are getting a nice area of sensitivity off of the 786, which is perfect as long as it can stay. So this could definitely allow for an additional move up to into that 65,740 area at the very least. Um, I would be watching that today, so you can see kind of this cup and handle formation, getting that bounce, that sensitivity that we like to see. Yeah, so if we can get back above the 200 here on the 1 minute, you have yourself a potential semi-special move to the upside. So I was waiting for this retracement this morning. I am in a very, very small long just to see if it'll continue its move up. More on a scalping time frame, but again, it's very high risk, so just be very cautious of that. But that is what I'm seeing for right now. As far as levels go, you're looking at 765, 740 to the upside. Obviously, if you can breach 65, 186. And then to the downside, I would say looking for that midway point around 64, 636 if you needed that to continue that move down, as well as 64, around 64, 525 would be the bottom of the order block. So some levels in the nearby area that we could potentially see getting hit. Again, like I said, I am expecting somewhat of a bounce right now. Not 100% sure if it's going to happen, but I'm going to chance it just to see. That is what I have as far as the charts go and levels go. Let's take a look at liquidity. So taking a real quick look at liquidity here, guys, you can see we're back above that 64, 685, and like I said, if we can close candles above it, that's going to be a strong support line right there. So am seeing at least 65.7, which is what we targeted, potentially to about 66.330, which would be the bottom of this yellow area, or, at the top, 65, 6589, 66,600-ish area is another potential. But I'm basically kind of expecting for us to start to somewhat dig in here first prior to us, like I said, moving down into here. So not to say that we're going to take out all of this green area, but I am expecting for at least some of it to get taken out before we move down. All right, taking a look at your 1 hour. So your 1 hour is looking very bullish in my opinion. There was a potential that we could tap this 1 hour 200 MA, come down. Obviously, from a timing perspective, we did want to see that sensitivity that I was talking about as far as the 786 bounce goes. So this would, in theory, give a decent projection and possible move to the upside, in my opinion. So we're actually seeing some bullish behavior right now, even on the 1 hour. But again, guys, my target is in the 65 700-ish area, 65 800-ish area, just to see if we can get a small bounce, basically go up about $800. So nothing major, just a small scalp here. 15 minutes, so 15 minute, you're kind of looking at the same thing. You could potentially get rejected off of 65 400-ish area. This will be very much a very sensitive area, probably taking out, somewhat of this double top right here. But I am, like I said, looking for that continuation upward. I don't think that we're going to just stop right here. All right, so, and then to the downside with this, you have the potential, you have a small bridge down here. Worst case scenario, obviously wanting to keep the weekly 200 MA, so you're looking at about 63,500. Sorry, the weekly open. So 63,500 is around the weekly open, and I believe the weekly 200 MA, that was around what? That was around 63,600-ish area, 63,758. Yeah, so as long as we can keep that, guys, we're going to maintain that bullish bias here, and possibly this could be a nice tweezer bottom. You could even potentially long this if you wanted to play a larger time frame with a stop below these wicks. Again, very, very high risk, but that would be a potential right there. And then you could see if you could get to at least 67.5, if not 69,317 up here, basically touching that 21. All right, so let's dive into the 5 minute. So taking a look at the 5 minute, kind of the same thing as the 15, right? You're looking for a rejection off of here. That's going to be basically my target and my high for the day, around 65,800. I've been targeting that for a while. Your order book through open market is kind of showing the same thing, right? 65,800-ish is right around this green order right here, and you can see how the orders kind of die off from there. So I could definitely see that being a possibility as our kind of our top for the day, which is my target there. And then obviously you do have some orders to the downside, but nothing major. You don't really have a major order until about 64,350. So nothing really to drive us down too much. This could unfortunately be acting as an area of resistance, so just kind of keep that in mind. But it's always a good thing to see more orders above than below. All right, guys, let's take a real quick look at our simple map. Kind of end this here. So when it comes to the simple map right here, you can kind of see that our support area is going to be 64,680. You fall through that, you're going to be looking at about 64,000 even. You fall through that, you'll be looking about 63,720. So three areas to keep in mind. And obviously, we have been talking about that 64,000-ish area as well as the high 63,000-ish range. And then obviously to the upside, if you're going to get that move up, you'd be looking at about 65,370 as a first resistance zone. Getting above there, you basically not see anything until about 65,730, so right around that 65,800-ish area. And then if you're able to get above that, you'd be looking at about 65,820. And then finally 65,940, 66,000. And I believe after 66,000, you could kind of roll through if I remember correctly. Yeah, 66,000, where was that? Right around here. And then look at how much you could just basically roll through all this liquidity till you get to about 66,570. So definitely a good sign for the bulls to the upside if we wanted to take out more liquidity. Got some nice support zones to the downside, so not too bad for current market conditions. Taking a look at your swing time frame, kind of the same deal, right? 64,680 would be your first support zone to the downside. Getting past that, you'd be looking at about 63,990, 64,000-ish area. And then getting past that, 63,720 would be your next area of support. And then obviously to the upside, we just talked about 65,370. Getting past that, you'd be looking at about 65,430. Keep going up to about 65,730 to 65,8. And if you're able to get past that, you can go to 66K-ish, 65,940, and then really roll through liquidity from that point. All right, guys, that is what I have for you for this morning. I will be probably giving you an update later on today, much later this evening. I am going to be traveling today, so with that being said, I am going to leave it here for now. I will talk to you all later, and I hope you all have a wonderful trading day. Take care.